Oh, welcome to Anything Relevant. And I want to talk about two and a half things. I want to talk about Game of Thrones, and I want to talk about the Disney comic book movies. And the half is Avatar, but I'll get to it. The reason why I want to talk about these things is I think they're cultural phenomenons, kind of like how things in the past, like people would say Star Trek, Star Wars, musical icons that emerge and change everything. It's kind of what I'm getting at. So nowadays, with what we have that are not really competing against anyone, is Marvel, Disney comic book movies, and Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones isn't competing with anyone. They're just doing what they do. They're trying to get their story done, and this is how they're doing it, and this is the amount of money that they're spending. This is the cast they pick. This is the crew they hired to run around behind the camera to make it happen. They're not competing with any other show. Every other show is competing with them. And it's the same thing with the Disney comic book movies. They're not competing with Fox now that they own it, but look at it in the sense that they don't have competition at all. DC tried. The proof's in the pudding. It's not working out. There's already put out there that they're not trying to continue with this expanded universe. Maybe they changed their mind now that Aquaman did well. Who knows? But that's the point. They don't know. We don't know. We know what Disney's doing. Endgame. You know, whether it was building to Endgame from Iron Man 1. Maybe it was building to Endgame by Avengers. Maybe that's when it started. But point being is they've been consistent. They've been consistent in the sense that I've rewatched all of them. And if someone says, hey, I want to put one of them on, I'm not going to say no, but I'm probably, depending on my mood while it's on, I might grab something else, like a notepad and start writing, or a sketch pad and start drawing, or read something. You know, when I get commented to while the movie's playing, respond to it, nod and smile. I'm not offended by them. They were fun. Whether they were a solid story or spread too thin, rushed too fast. Every movie has these issues. But the quality was always there in the entertainment aspect. And because of that consistency and that commitment and that amount of money, it's created itself to be something that it can't even be competed with. The X-Men didn't respect their material, the X-Men movies. They wanted to remake it. You can tell it was a non-fan that barely understood it and wanted to adapt it. You know, didn't really pan out. Where if you get people that understand what they have, they don't want to break any of the rules, and they know what got the comic book sold in the first place. They know what got the people to go out to the conventions and dress up as these people, or whatever other example you want to give with all these true fans, is that they understand that it's real, it's a part of people's lives, and they didn't take that lightly, and They wanted quality to speak for itself. So that consistency is there on that note, on that. With Game of Thrones, same thing. Not competing with anyone, just working on what they're doing. They're reinventing it along the way, just like the MCU reinvented a lot of the aspects of these characters or plot lines involving these characters. So they're respecting the quality that's there, and they're just translating it as best as they can. And the only augmentations that are really happening are modernism, I guess, or hindsight. That's the other thing that Disney is doing very well with, is that they ask, what is a good story? You get a comic book fan showing you what a good story is, and then they look at it and be like, would it be better if we did this and this instead of that and that? And you get a fan be like, holy smokes, I never thought of it that way. That'd be incredible. And that's what you get with these movies. Those adjustments are forgivable. Not only that, they're enjoyed. And the people that, Idris Elba playing Heimdall and all these outcries, doesn't even mean to be dignified with a response. Just being a literalist to the point of not having fun anymore. I entertain the idea of any entertainer taking on any role as long as my time isn't wasted. Think about the possibilities that could be out there. Having Mads Mikkelsen playing Doctor Doom when they maybe reboot this after Endgames. Having that's why I like Mads Mikkelsen playing Doom. Imagine that. Imagine him giving a declaration of what's going to happen. Doom, doing a Doom style. Someone like Iron Man gets a little cocky, a little, interrupting the old monologue, and then you see just the rigid stomp of Matt Mikkelsen, and then you just hear that armored body turn and look. Had to do that, but turn and look at the finish his own sentence, but now with a little heat. Man, Mikkelsen doing that. I'm saying his name wrong, I apologize, but they wasted him on Doctor Strange. Phenomenal performance on Doctor Strange. Maybe that's insulting to say wasted, but I think he would have been in a better Doctor Doom. I think there's a lost opportunity there. There'd be other people I wouldn't mind seeing in there, but I'm not a casting director. But imagine that. Imagine... I'm going to do another video on who I would cast. I'm going to stop. So, point being is that these two things are phenomenons. They've brought people together, and there's very little bickering, and the bickering is very superficial. And it's quickly forgotten. And the one thing that remains is rewatching, whether it's a TV show or the movies. These two things are phenomenon, and the basis on which I even bring all this up in the first place is, now imagine these didn't exist. Everything that we have going on right now, minus these two things. What do we got that could fill that void of that quality, that rewatchable quality? That's why I say half on Avatar. Avatar broke records. He's taken his time with what does he have coming? 2, 3, 4? Is it going to 4 or is it going to 5? I can't remember what I read, but I know it's not a trilogy. It's more than a trilogy because I think he filmed 3 movies since Avatar, so that would make it go to 4. But maybe they did 4. I don't know. Anyway, point being is that what would this world look like with just Avatar leading the way with the failing franchises of Jurassic Park? I say that because the stories are flawed and old and non-entertaining, and really you're beating dead horse cliches to a point of just it's you're wasting time. The X-Men never appreciated their source material. Spider-Man doesn't, or Sony rather, needed help with Spider-Man. And now on a better road, but it still seems like there's still a little bit of Sony in with what's going on with the. I didn't like Venom. Sorry, I didn't like Venom. It was weird. What? Just call it something else. It should have been like the Leviathan Part 2. Remember the Leviathan? Anyway, so as I say, imagine the world without these things. Imagine all the terrorism and mass shootings and everything that we have, and we don't have these 2 things. Is the world a lesser place? That's not my question. Just imagine. I appreciate the times that we live because of how quick communication and how fast technology is. And having these 2 phenomenons along the way, pardon me, has made me at least stop and think and see the times that we're in. This is going to be very, if we have a future to look back upon, how we do with World War I, World War II, the 300 Battle of Thermopylae. Like, we go over history over and over and over to understand it. The times that we're living right now, the 100 years of post World War I, or even pre-World War I till even 50 more years into the future, is going to be such a highly pulled apart time period for everything that was done, everything that's changed, things that are no longer acceptable, the forgiveness and where the forgiveness is deserved. So we live in extraordinary times, best time to be alive. And I think it's enriched by these 2 phenomenons, because these phenomenons show that you can have quality and be entertained and still have the holes and almost still be thought as perfect. But they're not. But they reflect our own reality. That's what sets them apart from the rest. They're not clunky in what they're trying to get across. Game of Thrones, there's no one that's right. Everyone's doing what they think is right, taking care of family, taking care of the coastline, manning a wall, whatever. There's all these different people with different views. You can debate, even though you don't like them, even though some people are awful. There's still yet a lot of saving. I'm going to say Cersei Lannister just cuts a line in the map and says, go past that line and you're in trouble. I don't care what goes on beyond this line. Everyone below that line that she's drawn out is going to be safe until there's war. Until there's war. So that makes things complicated. It really does. Like, if you happen to be on one side of a line and you got someone that says, I'm going to keep the peace, and anything contrary to what I have going on is going to result in war. And if everyone just respects that, they're like, you know what, I just want peace too. People don't realize this. This has also happened in history. So this is what I like about the show. It's very reflective of human history, human interaction, different perspectives of one issue or multiple issues. In the MCU, it's very similar. It's talking about how we connect to each other, how we connect with what we would call the other or them. Gotta stop with that. But that's what the show's all about, and forgiveness, and also redemption, all these things to show you that just because you made one bad day out of a good life, that you should be now villainized for every other day post. If there is a way back, then let them have that way back. But what if the crime is too unacceptable? Well, then that isn't relevant to the road back now, is it? If it's an unforgivable crime, then there is no way back. I don't need that argument thrown at me, because that's what no way back is. Well, I can't forgive it. Well, what if there's millions of you that have that same sentiment? There's one or two things going to happen. You're going to get educated on the full story and look at it in a very complicated manner, and he gets his redemption, or she gets her redemption, or everyone looks at it, the facts are the facts, and there's no way back. It's that simple. So what I'm getting at is these shows, these movies, show how complicated life is in a different... It's like the other side of the coin, where Game of Thrones is talking about households and people, Marvel's talking about ideas and relationships, and I just expanding to a higher level of thinking, a higher level of feeling, and that's why they're also classified to me as a phenomenon. Because as much as you can scoff at entertainment, it's been with us since we're able to do it, and it's created a lot of things throughout our time to keep us alive. Make jokes about the boogeyman. What if the boogeyman was just hungry bears? Don't go out at night. Don't go into the woods. Boogeyman will get you. It's a hungry bear or boogeyman. Point being is that we've made scary stories to be entertaining, to teach. And these two platforms are trying to teach while entertaining. And that's why it's like a triple threat analogy, in the sense that there's more than one layer to these franchises that make them head and shoulders above the rest, and why they're not competing with anyone. And that's why it's a phenomenon. It's changing our hearts and minds. In big ways or little. But that's my thoughts, that's my opinions. Thank you for watching Anything Relevant. I hope I have better stuff for you next time. Till next time.